the Midwest Angler Podcast.
All right, we are back with episode 2 of the Midwest Angler Podcast. I'm Scott Sturman, and I'm joined again by Matt Deitch. Matt, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Yeah, like I said, episode 2 coming back. Last week we kind of gave an introduction, about ourselves and, kind of just told you what this podcast was going to be about. This week we've got some ice reports. We wanted to say thanks to everybody for all the positive feedback that you've given us the last week. A lot of people really seemed like they liked the first one, and that was nice to hear.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, running into people telling you that they listened to the podcast and they really enjoyed it. Even a lot of people that don't necessarily get out and do a lot of fishing. So, yeah, it's fun to hear that stuff. Thanks for all that. Make sure you keep following, sharing us on Facebook, everything like that. Get your friends involved. Let them know about it. We like hearing all kinds of different stories and mention you on here sometime.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think we're up over 150 likes now on Facebook in just a few days. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Just keep hitting that like button. Share your stories with us. Give us some topics to talk about on here. We're always looking for anything fishing related.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys want to hear something, let us know. We'll talk about it. We're just two guys that like to fish and like to talk, so we can do that.
That's for sure. That's why we started doing this.
Yep. So we got some ice reports. Me and Matt were lucky enough to talk to a couple big fishermen last couple days up in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Matt, you want to start us off with one?
Yeah, we got one coming from Theo Tolliver. He's from Fish Addictions TV. If you haven't checked out that show, make sure you're doing that. It's on Fox Sports North on Sundays starting in January. Theo is from up in North Dakota. He's been on a hot bite up there. Recently, he spent the day on Lake Sakakawea. He was targeting walleyes. They found 10 inches of ice, decided to fish the sharp drop-offs that are synonymous with Lake Sakakawea. They concentrated on depths between 15 and 25 feet, with their main technique of catching fish was a simple bobber, split shot, and a plain hook tipped with a minnow. Can't get any simpler than that. They also used a variety of jigs tipped with just a minnow head as well, but the split shot technique provided to be superior over that. The bite lasted pretty much all day and well into the nighttime. What's great about Lake Sakakawea is that it holds a number of species of fish. Not only did they catch walleye, but they caught sauger, northern pike, crappie, cisco, and white bass. Get up there if you can. It's been a hot lake all year long. We thank Theo for his report up there. Looking forward to hearing more from him. I know just from his Facebook page, I've been seeing a lot of his pictures, and it looks like they've really been getting after him up there.
Walleye Wednesday.
That's right. Always look forward to it, Theo.
I got a chance to talk yesterday with Chris Granrud from Rainy Day Guide Service up on Rainy Lake, way up in northern Minnesota, bordering Canada. And he said that they had 8 to 9 inches of good clear ice covered with 8 inches of snow up close to shore. Out in the main basin, it's still not as good. They're not driving any ATVs or sleds out there, but they are starting to walk out. It froze a little bit later and not quite as good of ice. The walleye and pike action has been really good, low light situations, and he's thinking that the action's really going to pick up here in the next couple weeks with cold temps and getting out there, being able to drive out there, get to spots that, too far to walk. That is a big lake. I was talking to my brother about it today. There's over 2,000 islands in that lake.
It's pretty massive.
160 foot deep. I didn't really know anything about it, so I thought, well, if I'm going to be talking about it, I better go, kind of look at it. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it can be pretty intimidating, that's for sure.
That's not one that I would just go up and think I know how to fish.
The next report we have is coming from Will Pappenfuss, also from Fish Addictions TV. He's up in the Bemidji, Minnesota area. They've been on the ice already for close to 3 weeks. They have anywhere from 4 to 12 inches of ice on the lakes around that area, depending on if they were covered by the snow that hit earlier in November, but the bite has been phenomenal up there as well. Crappies and sunfish have been chowing in 8 to 15 foot on most lakes and green cabbage beds and the edge of the deep basins. Walleyes have been found shallow in 12 to 20 feet on Lake Bemidji and a few of the smaller lakes also in the area. There have been a lot of people out spearing and seeing lots of fish as well. Go out, drill a hole, and drop a line, and you're guaranteed to get bit by something. Happy fishing and good luck, Walleye Will says. If you follow Will on Facebook or anything like that, he's also a member of Fish Addictions TV, like I said. He's always posting pictures of big fish. They don't call him Walleye Will for nothing. Spearing, you don't hear a lot of guys give reports on spearing. I kind of found that was pretty cool. Have you ever had a chance to do that, Scott?
I've never speared. I've watched it on YouTube, and that's definitely something I'd like to give a shot.
I can remember going to my grandpa's spear house and a few times, and it was when I was really young. I really didn't pay attention to the fishing as much as I did worried about falling in the hole, because that was something I was really good at when I was younger. I fell in the water all the time, no matter if it was during the summer or during the winter, by my own fault. I was always warned not to fool around, but yeah, I fooled around and fell in quite a few times.
Matt, you want to, I don't know that this is something that the average person, especially here in Iowa, because it's not allowed here in Iowa, correct?
I'm not 100% sure on that as far as that goes. I don't know if it is, so I'm not going to say it is, or if it's not. So that's something I need to look into, because it's just something I don't do.
Right, but you want to tell the people who don't know what spearing is, what they're doing in these dark houses, cutting big blocks of ice out.
You cut out a big hole. A lot of people, they put a decoy, a lure down there in the water, and you can see it all down there. Usually it's in shallow water, and the northerns, and you see all kinds of different fish come in, but they're targeting northerns, and they come swimming in, and you have a spear that has a bunch of different prongs on it. When they come in, you try to let them get set up in position, and you drop that spear down on them, and you got your fish. It's kind of like probably one of the earliest forms of ice fishing that there is. It's probably before, the stick and the string, they were out there spearing, so that's pretty cool and very traditional, very traditional way.
Yep. Our next ice report is coming from Jesse Thalman of Thalman's Guide Service, west central Minnesota in Otter Tail County. Jesse said that there is even starting to be some vehicle traffic out on the small shallow lakes that got ice early. Most lakes have 10 to 12 inches of ice. The bigger lakes more down to 6 to 8 inches. They've got good clear ice, and the bite has been really good. If you follow Jesse on Facebook at all, or Thalman's Guide Service, Jesse is always on big bluegills and nice crappie. He just 2 days ago posted a bunch of really nice crappie. I wish I was there fishing those.
Yeah, they were definitely slabs.
Yeah, I'd like to get in on some good crappie.
It's this early crappie bite. It seems like a lot of people have been really hitting it pretty good. It seems like they really go early on, early ice and stuff, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of it. The next report we have comes out of northeast South Dakota from guide Marcus Quam. He's with Real Therapy Guide Service up there. They're seeing 5 to 9 inches of ice, more of that on smaller sloughs up there. Some of the big lakes, still not a lot of ice on there, but the smaller sloughs are starting to ice up pretty good. There is some ATV and snowmobile traffic, but use caution as there is still open pockets on some of the lake. So it's a good idea, err on the side of caution, guys, and walk. Use the spud bar, spud your way out there. We're getting to the time here pretty soon where you don't need to do that anymore, but always remember, no ice is safe.
Especially out in South Dakota, when you think of all the waterfowl that came migrating through there, and
there is a lot on those bigger open water.
They'll keep a big spot open, and it might have froze up, but one spot can have really thick ice, and 10 yards from that, not so much.
Not much there at all. But the fishing has been great up there in northeast South Dakota. Need a good cold snap to finish locking up the lakes, like we were just saying, and have more consistent ice throughout the region. Get out there. I know that up there in that Wabae area, it looks like they've been on a pretty good perch perch bite and also walleyes as well. So if you're looking for somebody to go with up there, give Marcus a call, get a hold of him, and I'm sure that you'll have a good time.
Our next report's coming out of the Black Hills of South Dakota. I had a chance to message last night with Craig Euler a little bit. He was out here a week or two out on one of the lakes up there, I don't know which one, and posted some pictures. I'm sure it was pretty thin ice, but yesterday he told me there was no ice that he'd be confident enough to tell people about. I respect that.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
Like that.
I mean, you don't want to give people false information or anything like that, or just think, well, if he's out there ice fishing, it must be good ice, so we're going.
Right.
And again, just be safe out there, everybody.
Yeah, you can say float suits, whatever.
No,
it doesn't.
that water's still cold when you
Yep,
go through the ice. Those suits might keep you afloat, but it's still cold, and you're putting other people in danger when they're out there trying to also rescue
That's
you.
just it. The rescue crews, they've got kids, they've got
families they got to go home to. They want to go home to and everything. So just use your head out there. The last one we got coming for us is
Back to Iowa.
Back down here to Iowa, to the Iowa Great Lakes, the place that kind of holds a special place in both Scott and my heart. Chad Lorith from the Iowa Great Lakes Outdoor Incorporated. He's a guide over there, does a lot of stuff. He's been giving out a lot of reports on his Facebook page as well. And this storm this past weekend took a real big impact on any ice that we did have out there. We really didn't have fishable ice out there yet anyways, but this blizzard that we had this past weekend on Saturday did a number on it. I mean, it opened up a lot of water back over there. I think west is pretty much all open. West Okoboji is all open. East opened up a little bit on different spots. Most of the ice now is slush. Upper Gar has open water. Minnewaska does. Spirit Lake does. So Chad's really not recommending anything right now. The shorelines, the ice that are there, it's deteriorated really bad. So just don't venture out there yet, guys. We're going to get some cold weather here pretty soon, and it's going to lock them up pretty good, and then we'll get good ice. That's one nice thing with West Oak, like he says in his report. West Okoboji didn't have any ice on it. So we didn't get a bunch of snow and slush on top of it, so it's not going to create, hopefully, bad ice. Hopefully we get good hard ice after, we get some colder temps here.
I've seen multiple guides over there from the Iowa Great Lakes saying they're holding off. It's not, it's multiple guys that are saying, it's not worth it.
No, it's not.
Our next report's coming from Kevin Paul of Kevin Paul's Guide Service down Clear Lake, Iowa. Kevin yesterday posted on his Clear Lake Bait and Tackle Facebook page that the ice was good. I talked to him today on the phone. He told me that it was 6 to 8 inches of ice, but he didn't expect ATV traffic until probably this weekend. There's 2 large spots that the geese have kept open. Want to be careful of that. He did tell me that they have a good perch bite going on right now, and 2 to 3 feet of water is where you're going to catch the big ones. He said a lot of guys are trying to go out deep, and they're catching perch, but it isn't the quality of perch. He said go to 2 to 3 feet, fish in the weeds, red spikes, crushed waxworms on small tungsten jigs. You're going to probably have to do a lot of sorting, but in the weeds, 2 to 3 feet is where the good perch are. He did say that they are catching walleyes out in 7 foot of water, spoons and minnow heads. And then he told me about Silver Lake, not the Silver Lake by Lake Park, but the Silver Lake up north of Clear Lake.
Is that by like Trumbull or something like that, kind of up in that area? I think I've heard guys talking about it before.
Yeah, there is a Trumbull Lake over there too.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, I've never really explored that place, but yeah, I guess I'm not even sure what county that's at, but for those of you from over there, you know what I'm talking about. But 8 to 9 inches of ice over there, and a really good bluegill bite going. So, yeah, if you're interested in fishing any of those areas, northern Minnesota, South Dakota, and now Iowa, we've all got fishable ice. You might have to drive a little bit, but
well, and that's the thing. I mean, and you might not have to drive very far either. I mean, going north of here, probably a couple hours, you get up in that Brookings area, Watertown area, there's probably spots up there that do have fishable ice that you can get on. So, instead of risking it around here, maybe it's more of a reward to drive a few hours and get on that ice if you really need your ice fishing fix. If not, if you can hold off, great. There's other things. If you need to get outdoors and do stuff, get a hold of us. We'll take you pheasant hunting or something. But just don't risk your life to get out there and ice fish.
Yep. Me and Dusty Ramsey actually had a chance on Saturday in the snowstorm. Kind of got a little bored, so we drove over to Lake Pahoja, and as we were driving down to the lake, we looked out off the boat ramp, and it was like, wow, all the way covered. Well, it was there. We drove off to the west end of the lake and then back over to the east end of the lake, and both those sides of the lake are wide open. There wasn't a speck of ice on them, and yeah, that was really kind of crazy. A lot of ice straight through the middle all the way across, but the east and the west side both wide open. But
yeah, we get a couple weeks of nice cold weather here. We're going to get it, guys. We're going to get that good solid ice, and then we'll be full go out there ice fishing, and it won't be long. Who knows? Maybe we'll be out there driving on it.
I saw Thursday night down to 2 degrees or something like that, not very much wind. So
yeah, that's what we need. That's ice making.
That's ice making.
That's ice making weather right there. We just want to thank those guys that gave us these reports. We reached out to them, and they were real quick to respond back and had no issue with giving us these awesome reports. Like I said, some of these guys are guides. Check them out. Sometimes that's the best thing to do.
Like their Facebook pages.
Yeah, go over there, like it. If you don't know, if you want to get contacted in with them, you don't know their information, what their pages are, what their names, how to spell their names, get a hold of us here. We'll give that information to you.
As long as I can, I'm going to try to tag their guide service pages, the bait shops, Fish Addictions TV. I'll try to tag all that in our Facebook post when I upload the podcast. So
yeah, definitely.
Click through them all, like them all. They're all top-notch guys.
And sometimes the best thing to do, if you're new to ice fishing, new to fishing in general, sometimes the best thing to do is to hire a guide. I get people that come up to me a lot of times and say, oh, my son or my daughter, they love to fish, but we don't fish. We don't have any of the equipment. Like, what are some things that they need? What is that? Sometimes the best advice I can get them is get a hold of a guide.
Oh,
go fish with a guide for a day. I mean, it's well worth the money. You're going to learn a ton. You're going to have a ton of fun. I mean, all these guys are a lot of fun to fish with.
They know where the bite's at. They've got all top-notch equipment.
Yep, you get to use nice gear. You get to go out there fishing their nice boats. I mean, you're not fishing in some 12-foot John boat out there. They all got nice gear. I mean, ice fishing, most of them have, sleds or ATVs to pull their nice shacks out there with. It's heated. It's really a good time and well worth it. Even if you're an experienced fisherman and you're going somewhere and you're new to a body of water, sometimes the best way to lessen that learning curve is to hire one of these guys.
And these guys are just filled up with knowledge. I mean, to spend just a couple hours with them, I mean, you're going to learn more than what you ever can watching YouTube videos and reading forums and looking at Facebook pages. And these guys are going to be honest with you. That's their job is to make sure that you guys have fun. And I shouldn't say you guys. I mean, it could be us too. I mean, if we're going to head up to a new body of water that we've never fished, and you're going to invest a lot of time and money to get up there, it'd probably be well worth our money to hire a guide for a day and let them get us on the water. I've hired a guide down in Southwest Florida 2 years in a row and gone out and how else is a guy down in Florida going to get out on the ocean and fish? And I've gone out there with them, and these guys are filled with information. They make it fun.
They love fishing.
Yeah,
they love fishing.
They're just regular guys, all of them.
Yeah, you ask them questions, reach out to them, even on social media stuff. Get a hold of these guys. A lot of them, if you have a question on something, they'll give you all this information. I mean, they're not going to give you secret spots or anything like that, but I mean, they'll put you in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Chris Granrud. I didn't know Jesse Thalman, Craig Euler, Kevin Paul. those are 4 guys yesterday that I just sent a Facebook message to, and they all got right back to me, more than helpful. That was really cool. I kind of felt like a little kid again.
Yeah, so we thank those guys for their reports. Hopefully they found it fun and want to keep on doing that. Give us some whenever we're doing a podcast like this. It kind of gets me into the next thing maybe that we wanted to talk about, Scott, is like we talked about early ice and being patient. What are some things like you like to do to get yourself prepared for ice season?
Well, last night Dusty Ramsey came over, and of course
the Mamba,
the Mamba. No, we watched YouTube videos of we watched Chris Granrud, we watched Craig Euler, we started getting into musky tip ups. We were watching all sorts of stuff, and Dusty had bought a couple new rods here in the last couple weeks, and we put line on them, rigged them up with jigs, and that's one thing that I do. I'll get my shack out, charge up all my Vexilar batteries. I always like to tie jigs on. A lot of times, sometimes, something breaks off and you get out there and you're so anxious to fish and you drill your hole, you sit down, you pull your rod out of the rod bag and, now I still gotta tie up.
Got to put that jig on, and you're out there with 1 to 2 pound test line, and you're trying to get it in. It's not easy. It's not easy tying them little jigs on with that light line.
Yeah, your fingers are cold because you just scooped out your hole and everything else.
The adrenaline's running.
Yep. No, I would say that's the biggest thing. Just make sure that all your gear's in order. In your shack. Vexilar batteries charged. Just stuff like that. How about you,
Yeah,
man?
I think I agree with you on all that stuff. Going through all that equipment, make sure it's all good. If you need to put new line on your reels, do that stuff. I'm not a big person that every year I don't put new line on every year. I'll admit it. I go 1 or 2 years without doing it. I mean, it still seems to work for me. It doesn't seem like it gets weak and breaks or anything like that. So. I think one big thing that a lot of people overlook is getting their heaters out. And checking the tank on that, running it before you go out there, starting it, because there's nothing worse. You get out there and you're starting to get cold in that house and you're like, I'm going to put my heater on, and you're over there click, 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 trying to get that thing lit, and it will not light. I mean, it's just like, I should have checked this before I came out. So if there was any problems, you could have got them fixed, or if anything, if you had to get a new little propane heater, then you could have. That's something that I kind of think gets overlooked sometimes because it's an important piece of the equipment.
Oh, definitely. I actually kind of had that problem last year. I've got one of the little buddy heaters that just screws right onto the top of the 1 pound propane tank and then sits, on that base. And I guess I'm not a mechanical person, but apparently there's something called a thermocoupler on there, and it wasn't gapped right, so I brought it to work and showed a couple of the guys there. They knew right what the problem was, and they in there with a screwdriver screwing around with something, and next thing you know, I'm off to the races again. And
you're warm.
Yep, thank God.
Yeah, and some other things, making sure you have a plan together for that first ice. Your cleats. I mean, we saw a couple years ago, we had an experience. Cleats are so important. We were out on Miller's Bay over at West Okoboji, and we were walking off the ice, and there was an older gentleman and his son, and they were walking off, and the son was up in front of the father a long ways, and the father fell down on the ice, and
he slipped hard.
He slipped hard. I mean, we saw him go down, and I was like, oh, and he just laid there. So we quick rushed up there to see if he was okay, and his son didn't have an idea what was going on because he was walking up to the truck. He just figured his dad was behind him, and this guy, I mean, he was hurt. I mean, he couldn't stand up.
His pride was hurt, but his body was hurt. There
was definitely some bruises.
To shake it off and not
put on a tough face, but we could tell. And then he couldn't stand up. There wasn't snow on the ice, and he didn't have cleats on, so he just kept slipping and just couldn't get up. Finally, Scott took off his cleats and gave them to him so that he could get up. Well, in the meantime, the son saw what was going on and came walking out there. And by the time he got back out there, we had the dad up and had him sitting there, kind of gather his bearings a little bit. And, luckily it turned out that he was fine and everything like that, but it could have been much worse. I mean, you think about that. If he would have been out there by himself, if there wouldn't have been a lot of people out there on the ice, I mean, he could have laid there for quite a while. And, that's why you just got to make sure that equipment's all ready to go.
Yep, and those cleats do not cost much money. I mean, I think you can get a set for $20 or under. I run the Yak Trax chains, I think is what they're called.
Yep.
They're really nice. They're not foot size specific. They've got stretchable rubber around the outside. You slip them over your boots, and
they really fit on your boots real nice.
Yeah, I love them. I didn't run them for a lot of years, and once I got them, I don't hit the ice without them now.
No, whether there's snow on the ice or not, it's always a good idea to put those things on or have them right there so you can put them on, because when there's no snow on the ice and it's just sheer ice, it's
slick.
Yeah, it really is, and those cleats really help out with that. But other than that, just making sure the shack is all ready to go. I take my windows out, mine Velcro in and out of my shack, so I make sure I put that all back in. I mean, you don't want to be sitting there the night before. Your buddy calls you up and says, "Hey, we're going ice fishing tomorrow." It's like, all right, you're out there. You don't want to be out until 3 in the morning trying to get all your gear ready. Just here and there, start getting it ready, so when we do get that fishable ice and you're ready to make that trip, it's all ready to go.
I'm that guy that pushes
so
it
am
off
I.
until the last second, and then you wake up in the morning and all the guys are meeting in your driveway, and you're out there 5 minutes before you're supposed to meet, throwing everything in your shack you can think of, and you forget something. Get it ready beforehand and have it ready. Know it's ready.
Make sure those auger blades are all sharpened up, that it's all ready to go. I mean, if you're using the drill type adapters and stuff like that, make sure that your drill batteries are all charged. And one tip that I want to give as far as doing that with like the K drills or the Eskimo pistol grip augers and stuff now with like a Milwaukee drill, there's a lot of times when I go out there, I carry my batteries in a pack, and I'll take one of those hand warmers.
Oh yeah.
One of those throwaway hand warmers, and I'll put it in there with the batteries so they don't get cold.
Yep.
I mean, there's a little pouch in there that I can set one in there, and that way it keeps it nice and warm in there so that those batteries don't drain down, so when you go to use them, you get 1 or 2 holes out of them, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, they drain. All those lithium batteries, they last a long time anyways.
But then once you get out to the ice, to actually take those batteries or take your drill, take your whole entire auger if you've got a big enough shack, put them back in your shack. Keep them in there with you. Don't sit them out on the ice. That's can make a big difference. Keeping them in there in the warm shack with you.
Yeah, that it does. It makes a world of difference, so that when you do go, if you are going to move a spot, it's ready to go. It's right there. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff to try to get it going. A bunch of ice gets clogged up in there or anything like that too.
At the St. Paul ice show last weekend, I had thought maybe I wanted to try to run up there.
Yeah, but
Saturday,
that old blizzard.
The old blizzard. But saw a couple things on Facebook that I thought, we kind of touch on that. Have you seen that new 20-pound propane deal? It's like by Flame Pros or something like that. Flame King, I think it is.
To refill them? Yeah, that does look pretty cool.
Did you know that it's illegal to transport a 1-pound cylinder that's been refilled?
Really? I did not know that.
If it's not one of those Flame King ones. I just happened to be watching one of the videos, and I think it was actually, I didn't even realize that it was at the Ice Institute in Sioux Falls. I didn't even see him there. But I think it was like $500,000 fine or something like that.
Holy bucket!
I mean, it's goofier. I mean, it's something really crazy. I just happened to be searching around on Facebook, and all of a sudden I see that post, so I start looking at it, and the fine, it's on the side of a 1-pound cylinder. If you look at it,
that fine print that we all read all the time.
Yeah.
No, that is interesting. I never really thought about that, and it seems like a good product because we go through a lot of those 1-pound canisters each year, and if you can start refilling them and not having to throw them away when you're done. I mean, it can save on a lot.
Yeah, well, I think the whole price of the stand and everything was under $50. It gives you a nice stand to tip that 20-pounder upside down, and I think
It's a lot cheaper than that fine.
Yeah, well, like I said, I just can't believe 50,000, 500,000. It was a big number, more than I've got in my back
More
pocket.
than I want to pay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, it was. That show did look interesting up there. All the new products. I mean, it's just crazy all the things that come out every year. You know, all the, anything from a little jig that everybody's crazy about to a new auger, a new shack. I mean, the lineup for all these companies for their shacks now is just unreal. I don't know if you can really go out there. There is no such thing as a bad shack, really.
No.
If you really think about it, I mean, this company, that company, they all seem to be putting out quality products now. I mean, you and I, we have different branded shacks, and we both enjoy fishing out of both of them.
Right. I've had a clam shack since I first bought a shack. My brother had a clam shack, so I used to go with him. He had a Denali TC that two guys sat back to back, and he had a clam shack. I bought a clam shack, but I actually helped Dusty Ramsey put together his new Eskimo shack here.
Yeah, he bought that Sierra Thermal. That's the same one I have.
Yep.
It's a very nice shack. I really like it. It's kind of a two-man shack. You can fish two people in there comfortably, but it kind of like shines as a 1.5 person shack. It really does. I can get all my gear there beside me fishing. It's not huge. I can load it into my truck by myself. It's insulated. It keeps me warm. There wasn't a lot of times last year where I had to run my heater a lot.
Yep. And that's about just like my shack. I run a clam Nanook, and I think that's a small two-man is what they consider it. But I kind of figured, well, I'll take that second seat out, and I'll just sit in the middle. I actually like that second seat. I can fold it flat, and I put my jigs, put my wax worms over there, my cell phone, my gloves, and
use it as a workbench.
Oh yeah, and my brother, he has a one-man clam, and he came over, sees me stretched out, whatever. he's actually in the market for a two-man shack now too, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, they really are nice shacks. Yeah, the St. Paul Ice Show was last weekend. This weekend, they got the Fargo Ice Show coming up.
Oh, that's right. You thinking about going to that?
I was thinking about it, but I got to see if there's anybody else that wants to make that run up there. It's a new show this year. Okay. I mean, it's the first year doing it, I'm pretty sure.
Shields Arena.
Yep, so it should be a good one. The Sioux Falls Shields has their Ice Fest this weekend as well. I think it goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They have some pretty good speakers. I know Jason Mitchell is going to be there on Saturday giving a seminar and stuff like that.
Sioux Falls Shields?
Yep.
Jason Mitchell?
Shields. Oh, he's been there before. I've talked to him up there.
Call me.
I know. Well, he didn't want you giving everybody his spots, He's learned everything that he knows from you. So.
I think he got a new cell phone. Must not have my number.
Put it on block.
Yeah.
Ignore. No. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to go out there. There's a lot of good deals at these shows. I mean, some of the best deals of the year that you're going to get. If you're in the market for something new this weekend, now's the time to get it. Otherwise, it's, there's not going to be any more show specials, and then you got to kind of wait for the next year's stuff to come out. So, there's a lot of opportunities out there this weekend. Go out there, check them out. I don't know, I might just stay around here at check the Sioux Falls one out up there at Shields and see what there is I can't need. I know I need a couple new rods. I think I broke a couple last year, so that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I got a busy weekend of birthday parties,
kids' activities,
5th grade girls basketball tournaments.
They're still looking for referees for that, don't you? You could definitely get out there.
I'm on the list, but I'm not certified.
Just don't be reffing from the stands. I know how you parents do that stuff.
Well, I think that might put a wrap on episode 2, unless you've got something else to say, Matt.
No, keep on listening, guys. If you have any questions, get a hold of Scott and I. We're always willing to talk fishing. If you're looking for somebody to go, if you're new into it, you want to get out in the area, let us know. We love taking new people out fishing, so don't be afraid to reach out to us. Get a hold of us on Facebook or anything like that. If you got kids that want to get out, you can't get out, but you have some kids that want to try to get out, let us know. We'll try to get them on the ice somehow.
We'll leave Ramsey back, I think, with his probation. I don't know if he's allowed to be around anyone 18 years old.
Oh, he is. If you guys know us, Dusty is a friend of ours. We like to harass pretty good sometimes.
Brady Grafing said that we didn't take
We
any
had
jabs
to.
at Dusty
Yep.
yet.
So, Dusty, you can take that up with Brady about this one. So, we had to get a few jabs into you, man.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Thanks all for listening. We'll see you again maybe next week.
Or maybe on the water.
Yeah, that's right. See ya.